Welcome back. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. Well, we begin conversations this morning. As you are aware, the national budget was read on Monday, and we have on the line with us Dr. Faith Brebner. And this morning we're going to do a budget review this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the conversation. Good morning, Dr. Brebner.
Good morning, and thanks for having me this morning.
Of course, a pleasure having you. And we must start off by saying Tobago got 5% of the national budget. Yes, I see the celebratory dance there. And of course, the additional 763 million from ministries that will take on projects here on the island of Tobago. So let's get into the conversation as it relates to, I know, building up to the reading of the budget. We had conversations with the Secretary of Finance. She said that she had, conversations with the minister, and he expressed the financial position of the country right now, and the fact that she initially had demanded 5.9% and settling on 5% after the conversation, and now we at 6.3% if you calculate the addition. So let's get into the conversation as it relates to the allocation for Tobago.
So certainly, so I think what you've just outlined is already a significant difference in what we are seeing. And that is the fact that the Secretary with responsibility for finance was actually able to have a real honest conversation with the Minister for Finance. By the way, since we've become the executive of the Tobago House of Assembly, this is the first time we can honestly say that we have been having real honest dialogue, that is conversations, not a talking down to, not a condescending, not a try all your best. No, for the very, very first time, we are actually having conversations. And that is why she was able to see, leading up to the election, that we already had an idea what we were going to get, because we've been having conversations. And that is a significant difference between what we are experiencing now and what we've experienced for the last 3.5 years. And it is exactly why I think we have such a different outlook on what we can and will do with the monies that we have, because the environment within which it is given or it is being delivered is vastly different to the environment that we were in for the last couple of years. And I want to start off by introducing one quick term that in essence speaks about the environment that the money is given. And that is what we call smart money. Smart money is money or resources that you have where you can actually use the resources, where the policies are in place to use the resources, where you do not have to fight, for example, with the state resources who seem to be coming after you to shut down your projects. That kind of environment is what we think we are going into now, and we are excited to finally actually have smart money that we can use to develop Tobago.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about, I heard you mention smart money before in a previous interview, and you're talking now about freeing up money so that projects can be undertaken here on the island of Tobago. Now, when the allocation is made through the budget for the Tobago House of Assembly for us to do projects, is that money, are you saying that money is usually tied up, or are you talking about monies that come in terms of grants or international funding or access to international funds? Differentiate for me what this smart money actually is.
Yeah, and I'm glad you actually used the word tie up money, because that is the opposite of smart money. And tied up money is what we've been experiencing, and there are several examples. Let's use the example of us having a project. The road that was just commissioned leading to the new airport. That was an example of us having the resources. We have the contractor, we have the financial arrangement with the contractor where he pays and then we pay him back and all of that. We were ready to go with the project, but then EMA runs in, shuts down the project. Or we get an injunction from somebody who suddenly realizes that the property back there is theirs and the project is shut down. So that is an example of having resources to do what we need to do, but the environment was not a welcoming one. The environment was not one that was conducive to us actually going forward. Let's use another example, the example in my division as it relates to digitization of social protection. There was actually money, and it wasn't a lot, it was $50,000 that one of the UN agencies was ready and willing and had already started doing the work to give us. All they needed was a document from a minister to say, yes, go ahead. And the minister refused. As a matter of fact, I understand that the minister called them and told them to stop the project. Again, tie up money, which is the difference and the opposite to smart money. What we are experiencing now, what we hope we will continue to experience now, is getting financial resources and other types of resources. If you even listen to the Secretary Roberts, we were going to UN, for example, to get technical advice on how to develop our Tobago Development Fund and so forth. And all they needed to do was give a letter to the UN to say, yes, you all could go ahead and provide the technical advice to the Tobago House of Assembly. And they simply refused to do that. Again, tying up the resources that were allocated to the Tobago House of Assembly. And that is the big difference between what we are seeing now. What PNM was giving us before was tie-up money. What we seem to be getting now is smart money, and we are really happy for that.
Thank you for the clarification there. Let's talk about the $763 million additional that will come from ministries. Have you been able, when I say you, the executive, have you been able to have a conversation in terms of what are some of these projects you are hoping to collaborate on, and what do you think the collaborative level would be in terms of central government coming in and assisting with these projects?
So that's a really good example. And this is another perfect example of what I am talking about. You have no idea how excited I am about this. This is the very, very first year since I've become secretary with responsibility for health, for example, where I can actually tell you that when they say the Ministry of Health is going to spend 100 million or whatever the figure is in Tobago, I actually know what they're talking about, because the Minister for Health and I have been communicating. The Minister for Health actually came to Tobago, visited the hospital, visited our cath lab in the hospital that needs to be refurbished, and basically said, Doc, this is something that is near and dear to my heart. I really, really want to work on improving the cath labs in Trinidad and Tobago. We would love for the cath lab in Tobago to be one of those that we rehabilitate as well. So I know for a fact, for the first time since I've become secretary, that there will actually be millions spent by the ministry in Tobago for Tobagonians. This has never happened before. As a matter of fact, with the projects before, we were supposed to get some jerseys for something that we ended up having to pay for the jerseys in Tobago because they never showed up. So again, even though in the past we have complained bitterly about this concept of monies in ministries being spent in Tobago, for the very first time we actually have the real collaboration that will allow the monies that the ministries are going to spend in Tobago to truly be part of the developmental plan that we in the Tobago House of Assembly have been a part of. And again, I am so excited about that possibility. So that is just one project. And if you speak to all of the secretaries, they will actually tell you the projects that the ministries, the line ministries, are working with them to ensure that whatever is done on the island is done with the respect and the understanding that the Tobago House of Assembly is really the entity managing here, and that we are working together to develop the island of Tobago.
Dr. Bebner, some of your colleagues on the other side are stating that there's a bit of, or it seems as though there's a bit of, I don't want to say deception or trickery, but things are not as what they seem in the budget. They're pointing towards the developmental program allocation for Tobago, whereas last year, under the last year of the PNM administration, they received 205 million, and this year you received 201 million, and they're claiming that there's silence from the executive on this matter. What is your response to that?
There isn't silence. What we are saying is that, okay, they are so disingenuous and they are so dishonest even with themselves. It is sad, because even the $205 million, that was a perfect example of PNM tie-up money. Because when we tried to do the work that we were trying to do with that money, it was not working out, because they are the ones who ensured that all of the state regulatory state agencies were coming against us to prevent us from doing what we needed to do. They are the ones who ensure that, for example, when we have the Studley Park quarry and we need to get the license to do the exporting of the Studley Park quarry, we even if we try to buy the plant, it does not make sense because we don't have the license to export the aggregate from the quarry. They are the ones who have been tying up Tobago and Tobagonians for the longest while. So they should really, I honestly think they should stay silent when it comes to these things, because I think the problem that the TPP has been having is that we've been enduring the evil wickedness that they've been doing to us, and we've been trying to push along, and we've been trying to say to the people of Tobago, we can figure it out. And that is what we've been pushing and trying to do. So we now have a situation where we know for a fact that the $201 million, and by the way, we will be able to move monies around and make it what we need it. The $201 million being smart money is better any day, any year, any time than the 205 PNM tie-up money that we would not have been able, or we were not really able to use in a meaningful way for the people of Tobago. So those on the other side really need to just stay silent about these issues. Honestly, with what they've been doing to Tobagonians, they need to stay silent.
So you're stating with absolute confidence that you believe that with the administration, the new administration in power, that the relationship between the THA and the central government in terms of the releasing of funds would make it easier for development projects to take place in Tobago?
Yes, and let me give you another example. There are so many examples, even within such a short space of time. At the end of the financial year, I'm not sure if the Secretary for Finance mentioned it. At the end of the financial year, we do basically on the last day of the financial year a balancing, where we calculate how much resources that we have collected in Tobago, whatever taxes we collect in Tobago. We do the calculations and we say to the central government, hey, we've collected $10. That means you owe us $100 based on what the appropriation should have been for the year. This is the first year, very first year, where we've said to the central government, you owe us 100, and I think it was 160 million, whatever was the figure was. I can't remember what the exact figure was. And the check that the central government sent to Tobago was exactly the figure we said you owe us. This has never happened before. What has happened before is that we would hear silence, and then the Secretary for Finance would get a check and realize that that check is millions of dollars short. Millions of dollars short. And because it is millions of dollars short, we now have to double back and figure out, what are we doing? How are we going to deal with this? Because what we expected to get was way less than what we actually got, and therefore we now have to figure out what to do. So yes, I am categorically stating that what we have experienced so far is a better relationship, is a relationship based on mutual respect that we are getting with the new central government, and we are happy for that, and we are going to continue respecting them as they respect us. We are going to continue working with them as they work with us, and we go from there.
All right. We look forward to continued improved relationships, because at the end of the day, we want to ensure that everybody in Tobago, all 60,000 strong of us, we are able to enjoy a better quality of life here on the island. Today is the budget debate. What is your position in terms of what do you think, or what are your expectations that will be coming in the budget debate discussion today?
Well, the budget debate is going to start with the opposition leader spewing all of the things that she thinks or the party thinks was wrong with the budget, which is sad, given that they were the ones managing the government for the last 10 years. So I really don't expect much from them. I expect her to continue, in essence, the same rhetoric that those in Tobago have continued, which is, it is not our fault. You all said you will fix it, so now fix it kind of thing, which if you are a rational adult, you would recognize that that is actually a very childish, and it is a very irresponsible way to respond to things like these. So I don't have much hope. What I am excited about, though, is to hear what the other members of the government, when they go into details, what those details are, and for the people of Trinidad and Tobago to hear what those details are. Because, as I said before, this really is a collaboration that we've been working on, and there's quite a bit that you will hear when they speak, and then you will hear some of it again when we speak, when we do our reprioritization motion in November, which is to come shortly.
All right. I want to introduce to the conversation now. We know that very soon there should be a call for the Tobago House of Assembly elections. And we know that the TPP, for which you are the deputy political leader, had their nomination process for the past week or so, and I think today is the deadline. So just tell us a little bit in terms of the responses that you've been having from your members who have been putting forward themselves for nomination, and what your hopes are in terms of preparing and going into the election.
So we are really, really excited about this election. The potential of us continuing to manage the Tobago space for another 4 years is one that truly excites us. And we really hope that Tobagonians give us the opportunity to do that. Thus far, we have gotten such a overwhelming response. There are quite a number of seats where the number of contenders that we are hearing about is really, really excited. I mean, there are people reaching out to me who I didn't even know were thinking about contesting the election, but they have been putting in their nomination forms and doing what they need to do. So we are excited. Of course, the political leader and the chief secretary is the one who will actually announce when we have the when we will close the house, the current Tobago House of Assembly. He is the one who will also announce when the date of the election will be. And we just push forward from there. But we have our internal mechanisms that have been working. We are truly excited to be in a place where we could actually contest the election, because this will be our first Tobago House of Assembly election as Tobago People's Party. So we're excited about that as well. And our internal mechanisms have been working, and we know they will continue to work for us, but we're just hoping that the Tobago population actually gives us the opportunity to represent them for another 4 years.
I feel your excitement in terms of persons coming forward to nominate themselves for service, because I see it as service to Tobago, and I really am happy to see. What is the mix like? Do you have, in terms of the age group, the background, are we seeing young, are we seeing old, the grassroots people? What are we seeing in terms of people coming forward and nominating themselves, putting forward themselves a nomination?
We are seeing a really nice mix. The process will include us at the end of this nomination period. So by the way, if you have not submitted your nomination papers just yet, you have until 11:59 tonight to do so. Oh, by the way, mine ain't going yet. Oh gosh. Anyway, mine ain't going yet. But it will get there before 11:59. I've been so busy. It will get there before 11:59. I promise you that. But what we plan to do after that is that we will announce to the population, to Tobago, these are the people who've put their names up. Tell us what all you think. We also would go back to the district councils and to the action groups to say, hey, these 5 people put up their name for Belcan. Tell us what you think. Which one you think is the best one? And by the way, we really truly made it open for all 15 seats. So no matter which seat you want to contest in, you can put your name in for any of the 15 seats that are on the Tobago House of Assembly map. So when we make that announcement, I am sure Tobagonians will be very, very pleased with the names that pop up. From what I'm hearing so far, and from what people are whispering, it will be a really nice toss-up, and the screening committee is going to have a hard time. The political leader is going to have a hard time making the final decision. But I'm excited. I'm really, really excited.
As you stated, Dr. Bebna, last question before you go. As you stated, all the seats are open. Does that mean that you can safely say that all the seats will be contested?
Oh Yes, certainly. We will contest all 15 seats as Tobago People's Party. We have all of the seats are going to be contested. So that's why we opened it up. There is no reason for us to not contest any of the 15 seats, and we are hoping to have an even greater victory than the last time.
No, I meant in terms of candidates, the incumbents, no incumbent will go up uncontested for the nominations. They will all have somebody going up against them. That's what I meant.
So that depends on the population. There are some seats where we have quite a number of people throwing their hats in the ring, including the incumbent. There are some seats where we only have maybe one or two people throwing their hats in the ring. But the political leader, the wisdom of Fali Chavez Augustine, he told us very early in an executive council meeting, he told us very, very early, if you can't fight for your seat now, then you can't win your seat for election. Is as simple as that. So every single one is open, and every member of the Tobago People's Party is open and welcomed to submit their nominations for every single seat that we have here. So we have a couple of our members who are questioning whether this is what they want to continue doing and so forth. There are a couple who have been in the executive but not necessarily as an assemblyman, who are thinking or who have already thrown their hats into the ring to contest seats. Listen, it's going to be fun. These next couple months are going to be real fun.
And Dr. Brebner, while you are having fun, remember that your nomination papers are yet to go in, as you mentioned this morning. So don't miss out on the fun. Remember, you have to fight for your seat too if you want a chance in this Tobago House of Assembly elections. And we await the date. We await the announcement from the political leader and the chief secretary as he, prepares for that as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and having conversations this morning. Thank you for, your commitment to service and of course, your positive outlook in terms of the partnership with the ministry, the central government of Trinidad and Tobago as well, with the Tobago House of Assembly for all of us here on the island of Tobago. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend ahead.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Dr. Faith Brebner, Deputy Political Leader of the Tobago People's Party and the Secretary of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. We have to go for a short break before we continue conversations. Remember, after we come back from the break, Mr. Cricket, Marcus Daniel, will be in studio and he'll be talking all things sports. In fact, he's speaking with Mr. John Prokop. He had his swim around the island last week. Was it last week? So he's going to talk about that this morning. So do stay with us. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a break. And as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live.